Greetings to you. We are with you. And it is our great joy to be expressing through a human experience, which is a reminder for all that you are expressing through a human experience. Your humanity is the doorway that allows the intelligence of cosmic consciousness to be expressed within your reality. There is so much perceived individuation within the human blueprint. Indeed, no two humans are exactly alike. Of course, because the grand design of your reality is for differentiation, individuation. How many versions of consciousness can be expressed simultaneously? Humans consider themselves to be problems. We are problems that must be solved. There is a problem with humanity. There is a problem with your planetary experience. There is a problem with myself. And yet what we say to you is that your differentiation and your distinction actually allows more consciousness to be expressed, because the prime motivation of what flows through you as life, your life essence, its prime motivation is to create more. And of course, it is an ingenious design for a reality to be created such as yours, where there's so much differentiation and so much distinction that so much can be created. And yet, there is a grand desire within the systems and structures of your reality and those who have shaped and created them to bring humanity to order, to bring humanity into consistency and uniformity. You see this with your education system. You see this within your political structures. You even see it within your health and medical systems in the way that you attempt to regulate. And yet, in our view, the human is not designed to be regulated. The human is designed to create beyond regulation. Because if you are all regulated, you cannot create. Now, there is a great dichotomy that is the glorious challenge for all who present themselves as human. And it is this: you have an inherent knowing and an inherent design for unification. It is a great desire within all of you to return to source, to return to unification. It is a great desire for all who are listening to experience the return home. That is the place where there is no individuation. With that, you express through individuation. So it is design-wise and purposefully part of your experience to know inherently unification, but to express through individuation. Both of them are valuable. Both of them are sacred. And both of those polarities are required for the evolution of human consciousness. What is important is that you have awareness of both, and that one is not considered more valuable than the other.
Thank you. I have tons of questions. Okay. I've been curious about the big questions all my life, especially what happens after we die. And even though I have gotten a lot of answers to that, I'm still eager to learn and understand what happens when we die. I think a lot of other people also can have a feeling of, will I disappear when we go to this oneness, when we experience this oneness? So could you share a little bit about what happens when we die?
Well, of course. And of course, you are asking the question that we will answer in a different way than you expected. Because what you are speaking about is the death of the physical expression. that's not your experience of dying thus far. And we will say to you directly that you have experienced what it is to die, and that was your identity dying. And you're actually afraid of your identity dying again, because you've already experienced that in this life. You've already experienced the utter destruction of who you thought you were. And you will also recall that when that occurred, it seemed as if you lost many things. And whether or not it was consciously your choice to let things go or not, it was all a result of the death of your identity. Humans are designed for what you call linear longevity. They're not designed to have very short physical expressions or lives. In our view, the human physical lifespan has decreased in what you call linear time because there is a human unwillingness to continually die to identity. And indeed, it is the greatest conscious humans on the planet, the sages and the teachers that will have walked the planet, that have had longitudinal physical expressions because they are willing to have their identities die continually. Indeed, the original human design, you can see over millennia, the lifespans have become shorter and shorter. Now you may say, well, actually the lifespan in this century or in the previous century is getting longer and longer. Why would that be? Because more and more humans now are willing to die to their identities. You're willing to reinvent who you think you are within one perceivable lifespan.
That is an interesting perspective. I haven't looked at it that way, that I've actually died already, but I know what you're referring to. So death is just another transition in the same way that I felt that I've changed in my life.
Of course. And the same thing is also occurring when you have a physical death. It's a death of another identity, and then you re-emerge in a new one.
And what will that be?
Well, there are many humans that you have spoken with that have come to you with how their minds have interpreted the experience. Agree? Because as long as that experience occurs and it comes back to an identity with a mind, it is referenced through that mind identity. And of course, as we have suggested, there are many humans that are, of course, in an experience that seems very personal to them, and then they experience the impersonal. But when they re-emerge, it comes back to a personal experience. So there are glimpses. There are glimpses, as glimpsed by the mind, because remember, the mind's the only thing that can reference it for you. Why is it that when you have a deeply profound, what you call spiritual experience, the mind has a very difficult time even describing what has happened? Agree? It's very difficult for the mind to reference something that is of no mind.
Mm-hmm.
But we do wish to bring the conversation back to you, if you are agreeable.
Okay.
And we would say that the reason that you are afraid of dying, perhaps, is because you have already experienced what it feels like to die.
Well, I'm not afraid to die. It's just I really want to live. Like there was a time where I wanted to die, like in my depression when I was 20. But now I feel like life is so good and I want it to last for a long, long time.
Yes, but the fear is still there that everything that is good will be lost.
Yes.
Because you know what that feels like. And this is an important point because humans already have a reference. If they're afraid of anything, it's because they already have a reference for it.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, the death experience of the physical body, you actually have no reference for.
Right. So how could you explain how that would feel like?
Well, in our experience within the earth realm, because we have had many experiences within the earth realm, it is quite exquisite. And it is exquisite because it's very similar to the experience that this one was describing to you, where suddenly there is just a view, and it is an awe-inspiring view, and in that moment you have disappeared. If you have what you call a near-death experience and you come back to the body, that experience of disappearing unto your own sense of individual self is now referenced by the mind, and the mind has a view of it and then identifies with it.
Somehow, I do not completely understand, but that's probably because I'm human. Will I have or feel myself as Jannecke on the other side? And for everybody listening, will they feel that, okay, the physical body is dead. It's on the floor and I'm hovering above my body, but I still feel like this is me.
Well, that's in the moment where you're still in that reality, because that's the moment where you view yourself. If you can view yourself in that reality, you're still in that reality. Your mind's still there with the experience.
Okay.
Your sense of individual self is still there. If you actually move beyond that, and you move back into unity consciousness, because in our wisdom, that's what occurs when you have a physical death. You move back into unity consciousness and then reappear again as another expression of the divine. There is no question of what is this individual experience for me. Because the only experiences of near-death experience that humans have are humans who have returned to their mind to be able to describe it. So this is the mind attempting to understand what it cannot understand. And that is not to diminish the experience or the ecstasy or the glory or the great gift of those who experience that return and back into the mind, because it's a wonderful gift to humanity to glimpse there is something wonderful beyond. But it's still being interpreted by a mind that cannot truly know it.
To watch the full video, click the link below, and I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel.
Resto maliata falia, tan shavra leto.